Thank you and good evening, one and all. Thanks for being here for tonight's program, The Japanese Garden, Secrets of Natural Landscape Design. As already has been mentioned, I am Stephen Morrell, and I'll be moderating this evening's presentation. Our speaker is the world-renowned garden designer, Mr. Shiro Nakane, president of the Nakane Garden Research and Landscape Consultant Firm. Mr. Nakane began studying garden design as a young boy under the tutelage of his father, the garden master Kinsaku Nakane. He has since created gardens all over the world, including several here in the US, in Australia, Europe, China, and Japan. He also lectures at numerous venues around the world and has written prolifically on the topic of garden design. As a landscape designer, he applies traditional Japanese gardening techniques and aesthetics with a modern perspective, bringing this centuries-old tradition into the present day. We are very pleased that he is here to speak with us this evening. Following tonight's program, there will be a question and answer period. After the Q&A, we invite you to join us for a reception in the lobby. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our speaker, Mr. Shiro Nakane.
This is my great honor to have such a large number of people this evening. And I am a kind of specialist, I hope, Japanese garden. And today, this evening, I would like to show you what I'm thinking these days about traditional Japanese gardens. And this picture is a copy from the magazine or journal of Japanese gardening. And here you can see pine tree and water basin and stone lanterns. I'm afraid there are the three status or symbols of Japanese garden. And many of us, including professionals, misunderstand. If we had these three elements, that is a Japanese garden. But originally, we have no rules or no regulation in Japanese garden. Jumped up. This is a tsukubai style wash basin, water basin, and usually they have stone lanterns and a water basin and 3 rocks, stones, for hand candle and a warmed or water container and standing up. When I was young, I helped for the tea ceremony. And all the guests, before entering the tea house, we use water basin. Clean right hand first, and the left hand next, then clean your mouth. And then finally clean the dipper again. And this means purifying your body and spirit before go into the tea house. But this is a woodblock printed publication in 1820 or 29. And this is a formal style of tea garden. Here you can see water basin, and 3 stones. But this is one of the most important water basin for Fushinyan tea house, Omote Senke School of Tea. This water basin competition has no stone lanterns. This is one of the oldest tea house at Yabunochi School of Tea in Kyoto. This formation of water basin has no stones for warm water container. Thus, we had no rules or regulation originally. But this is a book called Tsukiyama Teizoden, published in 1829. This kind of book make a formula by the book. And this is a form of the formal style of garden with artificial mountains. It's a little bit difficult maybe, but if you had a look here, you can see number. This is a Chinese character, red 2 and black 2. And here, 8. And this shows 3, number 1. And this is 6, like this. And this book said this type of formal garden with artificial hill should have this tree, this position, and this number of artificial mountain, such and such. And all Japanese started to buy this kind of book because making a garden was very special. But rich students and rich farmers, such kind, started to make a Japanese garden by themselves. In that case, they followed this kind of book. So here, maybe you can see pine tree, stone lantern, and water basin. This is the original reason. And but the right origin of Japanese garden or Japanese is to live together with nature. Here, this is a picture written in 13th century. And here, building has no wall or partition because our nature was very mild and friendly. So we need not have a wall like very cold European countries or like in New York. And in the garden, they had wild flowers and wild plants. And we didn't use cultivated spaces, but wild flowers, plants were beautiful for us. So we digged from the field and plant into our garden. This is a view in autumn. Here, you can see miscanthus and other 7 different flowers in autumn in Japan. And this is a picture written in 17th century, and garden with 7 autumn flowers. And these kind of spaces of flowers are exactly same with the vegetation in the field. So we had no limit or boundary between our garden and outside nature. And we live together with season, and this is a picture collecting mushrooms in autumn. And this is a picture catching insects and throw them into their garden, like this. And we Japanese enjoyed their sound. And at the same time, we Japanese longing for the natural picturesque scenery or scenic beauty. And we made a copy into our garden. This is famous bridges in West Lake in China. I don't like this kind of taste of Chinese, but at that time we didn't have this kind. And This is a copy. This is also my copy. I brought my wife together with me this evening, but this is not her. And this is a Lushan mountain in China. This was also attractive for us. And this is a copy of small Lushan mountain in Koishikawa Korakuen, Tokyo. And this is one of the three great sites of Japan, Amano Hashidate. This picture was written by Sesshu, famous Japanese painter. We copied like this in Katsura Imperial Villa. And this is the real one, sandbank, Amano Hashidate, same direction, like this. And this is, maybe you know, Mount Fuji, symbol of Japan. And we Japanese copied even Mount Fuji, like this. And this is also Kumamoto, Jojuin. They are now suffering continuous earthquake. I pray for them, but there is a beautiful garden with Mount Fuji. Do you know this? This is Canadian and American Niagara Falls. Night view. This is a garden. This collectively made by my father, but I worked together with him, and I gave him an original idea to make a copy of the Niagara Falls. At that time, we didn't have a chance to visit there, but we had a chance to see the picture more than 100 times. And so even current design, we are using world famous scenic points for our landscape design. Very beautiful. Yeah. And Japanese garden, in Japanese garden, we brought plants, wild plants. But not only like that, we transplant, for example, very beautifully shaped pine trees. Because this is a picture of Matsushima, scenic, one of the three most famous scenic points. And near the sea, they had a strong wind and very severe condition, and they naturally made a very good shape of pine trees. And we Japanese transplanted trees from the seashore like this. And but we started to have no sources. Then we started to make a beautiful pine tree or other shaped tree by ourselves. Americans are very nice and very technical to make a ball-shaped pine tree. Germans has better two-storied pine tree. And German even use bricks to make a shape. And but I pay great respect for the German nursery, because this is Lawrence von Arden, one of the oldest European nursery, and Katharina von Arden, elder daughter, and this is their masterpiece. They took 30 years using this shape, slightly different from ours, but this shape, only using hand trimming scissors. This is a Japanese way, a famous pine tree. Maybe if you had a chance to visit Kinsaku Garden Pavilion, you can see ship-shaped pine tree. They are making a shape like this. And they said this is 650 years old pine tree. And this is a special kind of pine tree maintenance way. Many of you has your Japanese garden or engage in construction or knowing very much about the Japanese garden. But This is a slightly different kind of maintenance technique. Very much like a bonsai pine tree. And very dense upper part is already becoming very light. And using almost all the branches, using such a different number and shape of pruning scissors, and cut like this, and like that. Beautiful. I am teaching this kind of technique in Alpuka, or Crimea Island. Now, originally belongs to Ukraine. And we started to teach the gardeners there since last year, maybe 3-4 years, they will master. And using such technique and way of maintenance, we can, knowledge of maintenance, we can make a beautiful Japanese garden like this. This is a Ritsurin Koen Takamatsu, or Shikoku Island in Japan. And we can keep the beautiful shape. Without maintenance, we can keep the shape, because all the Japanese garden is not natural. Looks like very, very natural, but not natural, artificial, man-made. So without maintenance, they become original forest like this. This is a typical evergreen, broad-leafed forest, and our primitive forest. And if we did not make a maintenance, garden go back like this. This is my first experience to make a Japanese garden under my father in 1974 in Vienna, Austria. And he made a Japanese garden in 1974. I visited there about 15 years later. The garden was like this. This was my first experience. After this chance, I started to think about maintenance. Yeah. And but at the same time, Japanese had two different tastes. One is brightness, and another is dim, or wabi-sabi, that kind. This is a two tea-ball, black tea-ball, Senno Rikyu, or master, or most famous tea master, loved. This is a Seto black tea-ball and Lac black ball. On the other hand, his boss, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, preferred red tea ball. So this is a very symbolic example of the wabi-sabi and brightness. And this is a Wabicha tea house in Katsura Imperial Villa, very small room, 3 and 1 daime mats. But the other hand, we Japanese loved golden tea house. So we have two different kind of taste. And this is a picture at the end of Edo period, and colored later. And you can see no wabi-sabi. This looks very bright. But we liked this kind of things. And since beginning of Meiji period and till the end of the World War II, Japanese garden was suffered. And maintenance work was sometimes stopped. Then the garden started to change their landscape, view, and even this garden, I'm sorry, this garden does not live, but could be a wabi-sabi garden because of the no maintenance. This, and of course, ignorance is one reason. This is a garden of Jukoin, sub-temple of Daitokuji. They said designed by Senno Rikyu. Here, you can see the straight line of hedge. But originally, this is a picture of the same hedge my father took 1955. Here, you can see mount. And my father taught me, here is the reason, because this is a grave post of Senno Rikyu. This one is very high. To hide the top of the grave post, they made a hedge or one part or round up. So I don't know the ignorance or right reason, because I checked the direction. But this mount is no use to hide the grave post correctly. But maybe this was a symbolic kind of things. But this one is gone already. And this is, very famous rock garden in Ryoanji, in snow. And this is a picture published in 1868. Here, you can see pine trees behind. But now, no pine trees. Japanese cedar, weeping cherry, and maples. And as for the wood-roofed timber roof, once changed to the roof tile roofing. Because roof tile roofing can last longer, but wood roofing have to renew every 20 years or so, but the temple could not have enough budget to change every 20 years. Then one day, they changed wooden roofing to roof tile roofing. And my father found the original wooden leaf underneath, and he made it back. And also, this is white sand, so very fine compared with these days. So material also changing. Here, this is a picture today. This is another example of the change of the garden. And this is the garden of Konchin, main temple of Nanzenji. And here is the rock arrangement and trimmed trees. But this is a total island today. But in 1944, behind forest was just jungle because of the no maintenance. And here at the center of the garden, like this. Here also, like this. So, as you know, now, Japanese garden is very easy and very easy to be ruined. And this is a famous temple, most temple, Saihoji. And this is, they say this is the oldest rock arrangement, dry waterfall rock arrangement. But my father and I take different way. In the original days, they had a small house called Shukuen-te on the top of the hill. And this is a step, go up to the building structure. Here, you can see the steps very easily. The picture of that one was like this. So about 60 years ago, many trees and like a forest. And this is today. And because Meiji government make a law to separate Shinto religion and Buddhism religion, then Japanese started to abolish Buddhism. Then they destroyed temple and statue, and they lost enough money to maintain the temple and garden. And also, we had a abolition of the feudal domains, followed by the establishment of the prefecture. And garden of daimyo also start becoming ruined. This is a garden, daimyo garden in Shikoku Island. I'm now restoring. And this is a picture of the garden in the middle of Meiji period. But this garden was ruined like this because of the no maintenance. And now I started to restore the garden landscape. It will take maybe 3-4 years, but I'm going to recover the original landscape of the garden. This is a picture of Moss Temple, Saihoji. And now I would like to explain how Japanese garden could last for hundreds of years. Vegetation was damaged, so plants and trees changed, but the frame of the garden still exists. Then we still can have classic Japanese garden. The reason is traditional technique of rock arrangement. Underneath water, this stone underneath water, like this, same places. And here you can see more clearly, and gravel and a little bit bigger stone to protect this position of the rock. And sometimes we had a timber, log timber, to support rock arrangement under the water. And this is a picture of Kinsaku Golden Pavilion. And my father made a restoration work in 1956 when I was 6 years old. And yeah, this is a rock arrangement under the rocks. And a view from the Golden Pavilion. Underneath is like this. And we used stakes to support rocks of islands, like this. Still, we started to have some big holes, and my father repaired and restored the garden. And he found 3 layers of clay underneath the bottom of the pond. 1 layer has 1 feet, total 3 feet depth of clay layer all around the bottom of the pond. And this is a picture of islands. And in 1956, pine tree was still tiny. Then we can understand this pine tree was not original. And today. And here we can see Kusen Hakkai Seki, this symbol of the Buddhism or idea about the cosmos. And underneath is like this. And this is exactly Taifu stone from China that was very precious at that time. In local image around the pond. And this is a picture of Katsura Imperial Villa. Here also, how we can see how they arrange rocks. Taken by my father and taken by myself. And this, I like this garden very much, Sento Imperial Villa Garden, or Imperial Palace Garden. This part, so they say it's a very original design of the garden here. I made a investigation and design for the restoration. And I found very similar kind of protection of block arrangement, or like in Saihoji. Very interesting. And with this kind of protection, this garden, this part of the garden could last more than 400 years. And also, this is a major part of the island, similar kind of technique. And pebbles, also, we made renew a gentle slope and renew all the part, like this. And contractor replace pebbles by hand. My staff counted the number of the pebbles. They said, I'm not sure because just they said, 151,361. Big number. But after restoring work, looks very nice. And this is a Hekyunso garden, and about 70, 80 years before garden was completed. And one of the latest classic Japanese garden. Underneath local arrangement of water is like this. They used lime cement, traditional way, but all falling down, and I found a big hole underneath, and we more than 1 meter. And my staff repaired like this. And if we give this kind of restoration every 30, 40 years, sometimes 10, 20 years, small one, then we can keep the beautiful landscape of the garden for hundreds of years. And from now, I'm going to introduce you some of my job, my works. This is, I did not so much, just pattern of the floor. This is a sculpture made by Sekine Nobuo Sekine, contemporary sculptor. But together with grid and the pattern, this space has Japanese taste, yeah, isn't it? And also, even a small space, we can make Japanese garden. And I made a design this time, and my father supervised the construction. That was the right position. If I supervised at that time, or I was still young, I never show you these pictures. And this is a bottom floor. So here is the ground level. So here is a high retaining wall, concrete wall. So I hide by cedar bark and made a small Kare-sansi garden with sliding door. And I sometimes make a design for abroad. I made a design for my client in Beijing. But unfortunately, Chinese government didn't like to have a Japanese-style garden or feeling of garden inside of the major part of Beijing. But this is not a pure Japanese-style garden, but I hope you can feel some. And this is just recently, this February, I completed. This is a veranda, fourth floor of Taki Seed Company, one of the biggest and oldest seed company in Japan. They had this. This is not my work. This was original garden. Then I was asked to make a new garden And this is my proposal, and perspective, and floor design, and process of construction. Depth of the soil is only 15 centimeter, means 7 inches. And automatic irrigation system, and tree support underneath, like this. And I complete it like this. This is not as I told you, traditional Japanese garden, but still, I hope you get a feeling of the Japanese garden. Like this. And Japanese garden is available. Of course, someone said my Japanese garden in abroad is different mine in Japan, because in Japan I make a garden like ink, Indian ink printing, suiboku, but in abroad I make oil painting. Yeah, but because of the taste is different, and the climate is different, and requirement is different, and I made a small Japanese garden, just this part, here, like this. And I have not enough time, so I make a quick showing. This is the process. And this kind of Japanese garden or Japanese style garden is quite easy and inexpensive. If you want, please order me. and very, very easy to make. I visit only total 3 days to complete this garden. And the owner asked me to have a lot of flowers. And this is my original garden. This is a Turtle Island. And this is a garden for old couple. And the turtle, or the husband, swimming up to the Crane Island, or his wife. So he and I, landscape architect, both admire or adore her wife. This is a picture of after completion. No flowers already, but still looks very nice. And I built this in Kiev, so very cold in winter. But still, if we chose good right plants, we can make. Yeah, right. And this is a big project. In Sanda, I made a roof garden and an atrium garden like this. But things is exactly same, even in indoor or outdoor. But I had no right data. And also, this garden located in underground floor. Then I visit there before sunlight and stay there until after sunlight. Then I experience by myself the condition of light. And then I chose plants. And awful work. They are planting mondograss because we didn't have enough budget. So we have to make them separate. And this is a waterfall, both sides. And this is a picture just after completion. But 1 year after completion, garden start to change. After 1 year, we lost no plants at all. So my selection was quite right, I hope. And this is the picture 6 years later, becoming better and very comfortable place inside of the building. 7 years after completion. And I hope they are very comfortable to run, like running in Central Park. 7 years after completion, we need some good maintenance. Otherwise, go back to the nature, I'm afraid. And this is a quite big project, 35 hectares total area. And this, they said, making a natural playground for the education of children's feelings. And they made this kind of block arrangement. I was invited to make a critique, and I took American way and speak very directly. And if we keep this strange or awful block arrangement, never good for children's feelings, then they said, all right, will you take? And I got a big job, very lucky. I arranged 2,700 tons of blocks for this place. And, but unfortunately, civil engineer who designed this foundation didn't know about rock arrangement and Japanese garden. And all the concrete floor is continuously sloping down, and all the side is just straight line. Then I started to arrange rocks one by one. So supervise all the rocks by myself, it's my father's policy I'm following. And now I have two sons watching what I'm doing. Then at my age of 66, I am all one. they can do exactly the same thing, I hope. Anyway, to hide the straight line, I arrange stone. Sometime inside, sometime outside, like this. But still, I hope this is much better than original one, I hope. And this is a space for aquatic plants. And looks natural. Here is a bridge, but from the bridge, you can see the straight line. If I made a design, I will never tell you, this is the secret of design. Anyway, like this. And soil coming like this, but if we had this kind of space, or seed from the nature will come and start growing and making a natural landscape. This is very important. Now, so picture just after completion. And last year, I got a phone call from the office of this garden, and they asked, this garden was done by your father? No, mine. And she said, may I tell this garden is Kinsaku Nakane's work? Then, because I made this garden 5 years after his passing away. So, anyway, if we had a keen observation of the nature, you can see the beauty of the natural landscape. And you can take that image into the rock arrangement. And, but my thinking today is different. Using concrete might be wrong way. This is an example of the rock arrangement using concrete. I made this kind of garden, so many. But here, I'm arranging new rocks. The way of making a good rock arrangement is that, so make a rhythm of the rocks. That means big and small, forward and backward, and tall and high. If you keep a good sense of the music, you can arrange like that and make, I hope, good rock arrangement. After planting, yes. And I also make a contemporary kind of design. This is a 6.5 hectares Japanese garden. This part is out of the Japanese garden, but I designed. And I made this garden only by myself. I never brought my gardeners or even the Japanese other gardeners. And after my experience at Vienna garden, I experienced we should teach the local people to maintain the garden. This is an example. Now, they don't call me to come because they are making a good maintenance already. And here, I planted many grasses like miscanthus, made a grass field in front of the garden. And Japanese garden is behind. This is the original view of the before construction. And in this case also, I used concrete. This is me. And arrange blocks one by one. And finally, like this. And I didn't have enough time, so I used a couple of cranes and arranged block all together at once. Anyway, and one day, my client started to say, I want to have a Rotemburo open-air bath. I was confused. But I made a misunderstanding. My client told me, garden is exist for the owner. And what my client want to have, he should have. And but as for the Japanese garden, I have to give him a right explanation. And we have a Rinkan no Yu summer tea ceremony tradition, already disappeared. But in Muromachi period, owner invite guests for steam bath. At that time, we didn't have open air bath, steam bath. Then after that, we serve tea, then drink and food. That is one of the custom, traditional custom of Japanese, but belongs to brightness. And so I explained my client, if some Japanese pretend to know Japanese garden and Rotemburo open air bath in the garden is awful, then please explain. You have a tradition of the Rinkan tea ceremony, like that. This is very essential for Japanese landscape architect to make a Japanese garden for foreign clients. Now, this is open air bath. And open air bath located the best place of the garden and overview both sides of the garden. This is a view in autumn, summer, spring, autumn again, spring again, summer, and Azalea Mountains. And yeah, he liked rocks, so I gathered rocks for him. Yes, this looks like oil painting. But this is a garden for him in autumn. Looks nice. Autumn again with traditional grasses and dry landscape garden, the other side of the open air bath. And this is overflow. And we have a earth bridge, usually with moss, but Kiev is very dry and cold. I decided to use long grass, mixed up 3 different species. And this is overflow of the pond. So when they had overwater, so this is a overflow canal. And this is a garden in Arpuka. And unfortunately, this garden was, four Russian and 2 Ukrainian is my client, so still exist. And we made a tall waterfall and about 2.5 hectares garden. Here is a big waterfall by the request of my client. And open air bus again. And in the night, very nice. Yeah. And besides open air bus, I made a small waterfall. And moonlight, and garden with red light. And we said waterfall is embodiment of Akara, the god of the fire. This is why I had a red light and view in the night. And open roof garden, small roof garden. Looks like oil painting, but even though this was not Japanese taste, but Japanese also had a brightness, a taste for brightness. This is good for my client. He likes this type of garden, and I have no reason to refute this kind. And here, over the hedge, you can see Black Sea. And same places, different places in Crimea, I made another garden about 2 hectares. But unfortunately, owner was Ukrainian, and now this garden was taken out by the new local government, and still under construction. But here is a very flat area. So I had an idea to have water and pond continuous to the Black Sea. And this is my client, during my absence, took black granite instead of white granite of my own design. And they promised me to change to the white granite, but now both my client and I can do anything, cannot do nothing, or can do anything for the change. And also, my original idea is different to hide this ugly concrete, but this is a kind of new design of the Japanese garden. And this is a Empire State Building, built in 1931. This is a steel frame structure. And this is a Trump Tower, as you know. And this one is built in 1983, but concrete structure. I think all the Empire State Building lasts longer than Trump Tower because of the structure. And this is a picture of the launching ceremony. And my client, in this case, is a ship builder. And he asked me to use steel to make a foundation of the pond. This is my first time, like building a ship. This might be stay longer than concrete, like Empire State Building. Or maybe my sons will check. And my father started to take a picture about 70 years ago. And I keep taking the same picture from the same place. And my sons also take pictures. Then I'm intending to have a 100 long change of the garden. and find the most effective and right way of the designing Japanese garden. Like this. And lock arrangement is quite easy because I made a lot of locks, and much easier than talking behind you. And anyway, this garden also becoming completion. And I completed this garden last year. So no one knows what is underneath the water, but we have many different materials. This is a quite easy one I made in Germany, and they use vinyl seed, and similar kind of garden we can make, but I don't know how long it can last. And now I would like to show briefly an example of application of the traditional Japanese garden technique into the garden construction. Journal of Japanese Gardening made an Australian garden survey, and best one was Melbourne Zoo Japanese Garden I made. And the second one is the University of Southern Queensland I made. This is a picture from the second one. And here I made a big pond, but I decided the location of the pond. Particular place after the rainfall, rainwater lasts longer, because that is the best place to make a pond. That is a traditional way. And but they didn't have enough money, and they had no way to use concrete, steel, vinyl seed, such kind. But the bentonite factory kindly proposed us to donate bentonite. Then we used bentonite for waterproofing, but water level is not steady, go up and down quite easy, because the main supply of water was rainfall. Then I took a traditional way. This is a garden built in 16th century. They used pebbles like this. Then I took exactly same technique above the bentonite and some more soil and pebbles like this all around. And this is a picture of the garden 15 years after completion. No problem. Trees not grown up. And picture, same 15 years. Some of the part is still all right. This is the same stone you saw before. And this is the picture 30 years later, just recently. Nothing happened. So such an easygoing way of traditional technique can last 30 years, maybe 60 years, longer than concrete. So we should go back to the old technique and tradition. Yeah, 30 years after completion. Last one, so 5 minutes delayed, then I will delay 5 minutes, so 5 more minutes, please. And now I'm thinking to make a garden permanent in conservation of natural resources. Anyway, in natural law, I was requested to make a naturalistic landscape with stream. And I proposed, because of a naturalistic landscape, use clay. But client said, no, we don't have enough time and money. Then I was very sorry, but I used contemporary material. but water lead it from the river beside and go through the stream and go back to the stream. So very ecological, I'm sorry. And this is part of the stream, origin of the stream. Please remember this scenery, how it changed. And we had a vinyl waterfall seat all around, but I used minimum volume of cement. And I arranged stone one by one, choose very attractive shape of the stone, visual part, and a little bit higher waterfall, like that. All the rocks and gravels, everything besides these contemporary material were from the field. Like this. And with water. And in this garden, I took a slightly different way because we usually force plants we designed. You should stay here, grow here. And if plant didn't like the location, he or she die. Then we take another one, stay here this time, and die. Then my idea, new idea, is to listen to the convenience of the plants. And I asked to my client to give me a little bit over money for, using plants. I chose about 36 different kind of grasses and shrubs. And I explained. I use my knowledge and experience to choose the location of the plants, but I don't know plants' real heart. So if they do not like my request, they will go, die, or disappear. But some others or newcomers will stay according to their convenience. And I made a planting. And when I made a local arrangement, my client said, "Oh, I don't like you to make a Japanese garden here. I want you to make a natural landscape." Yes, I know. I got enough money. Please wait a couple of years. Then soon, this landscape will change to the natural stream. And my trial to plant trees and now listening to their convenience. This is 3 months later after completion. And this is 2 years later after completion. Still very bushy, but origin of the stream looks a little bit more natural. 6 years, we are successful to have a colony. And if we had a committee or colony, we need not to make a lot of maintenance, just some help. This is, I think, new idea about the planting. And now, of course, cultivated space is beautiful, strong, attractive sometimes, but that is not follow the natural law. And if we choose the most appropriate and suitable plant species, that can last in your garden, even though you pass away. And so now this is my client. He is happy. Oh, as I told you, this garden looks very natural. Yeah, so this is one example of my trial. And using traditional technique and listen to the convenience of the plants, then I hope we can make a new design of the garden. Not only for Japanese garden, but also for your American gardens. How do you think? I'm a very good specialist of block arrangement. They look very natural, isn't it? And, thank you very much. This is a source of the stream. Yeah. So if you like my idea and design, please call me to my office. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm very thirsty.
What suggestions might you have for the Japan Society garden?
Oh, I'm far away from the business, so I didn't have a chance to see the garden yet. So after this talk, I talked with Mr. Sakurai, and he has an idea to change. Then I'm becoming very serious. English garden is said natural landscape garden. And yes, it looks very much nature. But at the beginning, when they make, they even plant dead tree and injured tree and insects or harming tree, and too realistic. So Japanese idea is not to make a new nature, but originally to make a copy of desirable and lovely existing nature. So I think that is only one difference.
Okay, right. I think you were the next one, yes. See, I favor that side, so I'll have to mix it up.
I was curious. You had two different types of modern materials lining the flow of the water. One looked like black polyethylene. What was the white material on top of that?
I think that was to protect the stones. Mm-hmm. I mean, protect the liner from the stones.
And what material was that made of?
And you mean old one, old type, or new one? New one. That is a kind of vinyl and vinyl sheet. Black one, you mean? Yeah.
The one on top of the black.
Last one.
No, on top. The white.
White, top.
No?
It's a thicker fabric material to protect the liner from the sharpness of the stones.
Thank you.
That's its purpose. There are a lot of different materials that are used. You can find some of that information online. But okay, let me just take one from this side, seeing as I keep looking that way. Okay, all the way there in the sort of in the middle in the back.
I wanted to know how you deal with pests in the garden.
Insect control and fungus and things like that.
And we can take an ecological way. So in Kyoto, for example, natural vegetation is changing. When I was a small kid, when I climbed up to the pine tree, haired worm come appear and very frightened. But these days, it's quite unusual or rare to find such kind. But all the disease and insect has a continuous relation. So if some kind of plants were taken away from the circle, so we can prevent some kind of disease and some kind of insects and worms. So no one still study like that, but in the future, I hope we should take such way. Then we can make a garden chemical-free garden, like organic vegetables.
Okay, how about sort of right there in the middle? Yes, you. Hey, you just have to wait for the microphone to get there.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. It's an honor to listen to you. The question I have is, what plant is your favorite, and which one do you hate the most?
Yeah, I like pine tree, but clients hate pine tree sometimes because expensive maintenance fee. And but pine tree is very delicate, but at the same time can last very long. And evergreen tree is good or bad, reason of the ruin of the garden sometimes. So evergreen tree and grow slower and stay longer is the best tree for the garden. I hope. Yeah.
Okay, right on the edge there.
Have you ever been asked to restore a garden that's been damaged by an earthquake? And if so, do you try to put it back to what it was or adjust it to the change?
Reason of the change of the garden?
After an earthquake, if it's damaged, do you change it or do you try?
I show the picture or painting of the garden with a pine tree. The garden was sunk down by the earthquake, 2 meters down from the sea level. So now they had a bank. So landscape has changed a lot, and the vegetation has changed also. But rising up a whole scene is not a realistic idea. Then we should find the best solution to adapt the new situation or change, I think.
Okay, right there in the back. Yes, right there, his hand's up.
I was reading a book about Japanese calligraphy recently, and it says that there's a similarity with music, and there's a rhythm between letters. And when you talked about the rhythm of rock arrangement, like big rocks and small rocks, it reminded me of this thing about Japanese calligraphy. Do you see any similarity between calligraphy and gardening?
Gardening. Now, I think I usually say all gardener has different talent. And someone is good for rock arrangement, some others good for pruning and shaping. And as you like classic or pop music or jazz, everybody has a different nature and taste. And the gardener, it's himself or herself should find their taste and ability. And if you are good in pop music, and you can make a pop-like good shape, but that is an example. But like forcing plants to be here, exactly the same thing. So gardener should. I sometimes meet with old gardener. These days, not so old or like me, but he said sometimes, I work for rock arrangement 30 years, but he even cannot wire and lift stone right way. If we lift the stone right way, then put it down and make a filling, then just 10 seconds. But if you arrange rock like this and adjust at the field, takes sometimes 1 hour. So, and rock arrangement requires talent. If you can wire the stone as you think, in 1 day, you have a talent for rock arrangement. And if not, you should concentrate into pruning pine trees.
Okay, how about right here in the front?
When you move great big rock, what do you use to move?
In ancient time, it was impossible, or almost impossible. But today, quite easy. I sometimes use 200 tons of ability crane, big crane. I move just recently 37 tons rock. So today we have big crane. So if owner of the project can spend money, big money for the crane, we can do anything.
Another one I want to ask you, when
Sometimes yeah, difficult. And not on my picture, but at the Heikyun Stroll Garden, I restored. They had a huge rock, maybe 70, 80, even 100 tons, but they cut in a small piece. And bring it and make it again. So, yeah, such kind of technique we have. We also have. And I show the picture, gardener carry pine trees on the shoulder. When I was young, we didn't have crane. Everything we carried by ourselves. And in that case, we have a round timber, and I don't know how to say, but like a shura in Japanese, something like a boat.
Dolly or with rollers
yeah,
on
and,
it? Some
and,
kind
yeah,
of,
and anyway, moves the small rocks. And in the inside of the existing temple, they sometimes have just a small gate. In that case, and far from the crane reach, then we still use very traditional way. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all the way up in the back there, the third one in.
Hi, I was wondering if there's a tradition of amateur rock garden creators and what suggestions or thoughts you have about somebody here doing a lot of research and trying to create a small rock garden on their own.
I think amateur and professional is not a big difference. And like the landscape architect in America, almost all the landscape architect measured landscape architecture, but I measured philosophy, Western philosophy, but I was the foolish son of my famous father, but I was very honest and hard to watch what he did. And then after that, I read a book and such afterward. And so everybody, if you work hard, you can learn the knowledge about the garden. But making a good arrangement, you should have a sense. If you are a good painter, maybe you can make a good rock arrangement. Rock arrangement itself is not so difficult as a figure. But make it or support or stay longer, you need to know the engineering kind of knowledge.
Okay, how about over this side again? There was someone right here in the middle? No? Yeah. Okay, fine. We have time just for a couple more questions. So.
Hi, thank you very much. I wanted to ask you, how do you source the stones? Do you take them from the local area where you're building the garden, like in Ukraine? Do you bring them from Japan, or do you source them globally from China, India, Africa?
My idea is use local materials. When I visit China with tea product union's head, he said, when he gives good tea, he usually bring water together with the tea. And he said the best way to enjoy a good tea is using local water. And same reason, and using local material is the best. So as I told you, in ancient time, Japanese transplant plants from the surrounding nature because of very similar climate and condition. But sometimes my client asks me to bring stones from Japan and pine trees from Japan, such and such. Of course, if they really want and spend money, we can prepare. But garden in Kiev, he made a awful protection during the winter time. I don't know how much in Fahrenheit, but sometimes temperature there is minus 30 degrees. So ordinary Japanese plants cannot survive. So all the plants, almost whole trees in the garden, in winter time, covered by protector. and even with some heater. So as long as he wants to make it and he has enough money, he can do that. But maybe he has 2 daughters. Maybe his daughters, I'm afraid, do not pay such big money. Maybe then soon the garden go back to the nature.
Okay, we have time for one more question, as long as Shiro's answer is brief. So I think there was one more right here in the front. Make it a really challenging question.
What are your thoughts about invasive What are your thoughts about using invasive species, things like bamboo that tend to spread uncontrolled?
And it's quite difficult, but if we had a very deep concrete wall or thick plastic sheet without joint, you can make it protected. But still, sometimes they jump up. But if you do not make a huge bamboo grove, when bamboo, new shoots grown up, you should cut. And if you keep doing that for 10 years, I hope they will abandon to grow, spread. Same idea with making bonsai. And but like a bonsai maker, bamboo will hate you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And thank you, Shiro.
Thank you very much.
And again, if you'd like to continue these conversations, we'll be in the lobby.